So it says starting, stop podcast. Ooh,
And we're live.
we are live. Woohoo! That was a journey, Keung.
Yeah, it was.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hacks Chat. I'm RT Bear, 35-year comic book veteran, working for both Marvel, DC, and helped start a little upstart, comic book company called Image Comics. So as a guest, and my good friend now is Keung Lee. How are you?
I'm good. How about you, Art?
I'm doing good. After our a ton of your patience and helping a boomer through clicking a myriad of buttons. Yes.
Lots and lots of buttons.
Lots of buttons. So we finally got here. So this is my first live stream in over 3 weeks. So I had a little blackout. So we've had a little bit of drama here. Well, not so much drama, but some changes here at the shack. And I'm trying to get black and white done. So I'm really only 2 pages away from getting black and white done. Yeah. And so my wife is ordering a bunch of, we have the Gemini mailers. We have all the plastic bags with backing boards. We have all the ash cans in those. The patches. Oh my gosh, Kyung, the patches. We got a prototype. We got 2 prototypes.
Oh, yeah?
We have the MI10 prototype with the Union Jack on it with the robot, and then we have the Yin Yang with the gun sight, the black and white logo.
Right.
And so we got the prototypes. They look amazing.
They're very cool.
Yeah, they look cool. So we have the buttons on order as well. So we should start getting those in at the end of this week. So then once the book is done, I can send it off to the printers. And I'm thinking probably, they say anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks, because we're going to China. Where are you getting your books printed?
Yeah, I went with Print Ninja, which, they have their printers in China as well. So my books are currently crossing the ocean.
What was the ETA that they originally gave you?
They're pretty good about their ETA. It takes about 6 weeks shipping overseas, and that includes all customs and everything like that. Although there can be setbacks, occasionally you might run into some customs issues, or for whatever reason they'll hold your books. But at least in John's case, they arrived within the 6 week period.
Wow. So when I was told 2 to 4 weeks, that 2 weeks was really, really optimistic. Maybe that was just to print the actual book versus shipping it out.
Well, are you doing Print Ninja as well?
I have been talking to them, but it's between Print Ninja and Global PSD.
I do know that if you're doing a saddle stitched book, printing the books can take 1 to 2 weeks. Perfect bound can take about between 2 to 4 weeks, something like that.
Okay, yeah, this is square bound. So this is kind of more the upgraded, like, graphic novel. I guess the traditional graphic novel format.
Sure.
Yeah. So, well, cool. Welcome. I wanted to get Keung on because we had an adventure, a San Diego Comic-Con adventure. And I thought it'd be interesting to maybe talk for an hour, or as long as Keung wants, about our day at San Diego Comic-Con. So you want to start talking? Is there anything you wanted to start off with, or?
Well, I'd like to start off. We got a couple of people in the chat who were there with us, Sierra Whiskey and What It Day. We got also Ray Thulu in the chat. Ray called out Sierra Whiskey, but we got Lady Celtic Moon as well, Arthur Brown, the Uncanny Kodiak. Thanks, guys, for joining us.
Yes.
But yeah, we could get to Hodads later, as that was, towards the end of the day. But man, I gotta say, my first time going to San Diego Comic-Con was last year, and it was it was amazing, but at the same time a little bit of a because the Artist Alley was not nearly as grand as I thought it would be at San Diego. I mean, I've gone to Anime Expo for many years, and I've seen the Artist Alley grow. And just the last year at Anime Expo, the Artist Alley was massive. It was absolutely huge. And compared to what I saw at San Diego last year, it was like, oh, really? That's it?
Well, like San Diego, the Artist Alley, I've been going to that show for 35 years.
Hmm.
So it used to be a destination of the con.
Mhm.
And the neat thing about the Artist Alley is just about everybody, even Frank Miller. And I remember the Ninja Turtle guys when they were first launching, their black and white book in there with us,
Yeah,
and just all kinds of stuff. So a lot of people got their start, working Artist Alley. So there were established artists, but there were a lot of up and comers too, and it was a destination. That's why I like the Comic-Con Revolution here that they have in Riverside.
mhm.
Is the emphasis is on the Artist Alley. So the Artist Alley is in the center of the con. So the con actually kind of circles around the Artist Alley. And I like
Nice.
that. I like that. And San Diego used to be more like that as well. But Hollywood's coming in, and I've talked to people, and it's also, I share the theory that Hollywood would really rather take that real estate, because that's prime real estate. That's right next to Hall H and everything.
Sure.
Yeah, I think they would love to have that real estate, but the tradition, of that con always had Artist Alley. So I think as soon as they get rid of Artist Alley, which I do think is the plan, that con it's going to have nothing to do with comics anymore.
Yeah, I gotta admit, man, just especially it's just tucked away in the corner. It's almost you have the middle portion of the exhibit hall, and that's where Hollywood is. It's like all the big, huge booths are displayed over there, and you have all of the celebrity signings over there. But really, the only reason that I go to these conventions is to meet the creators. And yeah, it's kind of sad that they're all being pushed away, pushed into this little corner on the left side of the exhibit hall.
Yeah, and you know what? I always buy all their art books and stuff. And I must say, Keung, I was very, very disappointed when I got home. What was it, Thursday night? And I looked in my bag, that bag I was carrying around the whole day, and I was like, "There's only 4 art books in here." Like usually, I just have like a stack of books. So we never got to what is it, Stuart Ing. So we never got
Mm.
over there, and I think we only did about a third of the Artist Alley.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was a little disappointed because I save up all year. This is my Christmas, going there and just throwing a bunch of money, at Artist Alley. I feel like I'm going to a strip joint, and I just make it rain. I just throw up my money and just watch all the artists there just, scramble for it.
Hmm.
I don't do that. That's not
Hmm.
that's not true. I don't do that. Was that bad? That was bad, right? I shouldn't have said that. So what was your take overall? I mean, the little we did see of it, I'd say maybe we saw a quarter of the show. What would you say?
I honestly don't think it was even a quarter of the show. I mean, if we're talking about the entire show, we
Yeah.
walked around the exhibit hall, we circled around, but we didn't go to any of the panels, we didn't go see any of the events or happenings. But the highlight was definitely following you around. And unfortunately, I bought a gimbal because I vowed that, with my shaky cam footage over at WonderCon, I'm like, I'm not going to let that happen again. But man, I just could not find the time well, anytime that I did whip out that gimbal, I had no room to use it. Like shoulder to shoulder with people holding this big stick with the camera on the top. It's just you need a little bit of room to maneuver if you want to properly use that thing. So I ended up not using it at all. But I did get a few good pictures, and you were able to post all of those. But yeah, the highlight for me was definitely interacting with all of the creators that we met over there.
Yeah, it was cool. And then the unexpected was we practically bumped into Kevin Grievous.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't know Kevin Grievous, he created Underworld. I believe it was his screenplay that they shot the first Underworld from, and he was also, I think, the first Lycan that they show in the movie. and he's getting all kind of jacked up with those throwing stars, getting stabbed into his chest, and then he goes to that guy and gets him pulled out. That's Kevin, and is a great guy, big supporter of myself and all my creator own, and I am for him, for his as well. And I think he's going to do a lot more independent stuff. And I remember we had a conversation. This was maybe a year or so ago, and he said, Art, I'm just worried that I'm not going to get any attention because these are new characters, these are new IPs. How do I go about branding them? And I said, man, don't be afraid of doing this, but do this. Put Kevin Grievous Presents, or put your name across the top, and then the title underneath it. And sometimes people look at that and go, oh, well, that's kind of that's a little arrogant or whatever. But for people like us, Kevin and myself, the name actually has more recognition than the title does. So it's a way of kind of selling the title, you know what I mean, with your name, with your brand. Sure. And so I hope that helped, because at the con, he said that's what he was thinking of doing, or he was leaning towards that. Yeah. So that was good. We got to meet his wife, and it's always a plus when you get to meet, people's family and stuff like that. So, yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. And I only thought you were big, Keung. I mean, that guy.
I gotta admit, there were two people who I met at the con this year that made me feel like a small little person when I shook the hand.
Okay, who was the other? I think I know who it is.
Well, it's definitely Kevin, but also Doug. Yeah, for sure.
Doug. Yeah. You know what? You always see the pictures of Doug, and you're like, yeah, he's tall. Oh my gosh, he's not tall. He's super tall, like crazy tall. He also, like, when you look at pictures, I never realized, like, he's one of those guys, like, if you were doing a caricature of a really tall person, that's what you would use. Like, he is really like he was stretched, like he was a normal human being. And yeah, like you took him from the top of his head to his toe, and you just kind of literally stretched him.
Yep.
Yeah. Because his neck, his torso, his arms, everything's elongated. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always jealous of people like that until I go to the movies, or I fly in a plane, or any place that I'm in a cramped kind of situation. Right. And then I'm always glad that I'm a smaller person, still bigger than Mike S. Miller, by an inch, but a small-ish person. Because people like you, that you guys have your knees up to your chin, right? Like.
Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. So what else stood out, man? This is like, I want to get your take on the show, because like I said, I mean, I've done this show, and it doesn't usually does. I mean, the best part about it for me, like I said, is buying books and just seeing old friends. But I want to live it through your eyes this time.
Well, I gotta say the one takeaway that well, at least for me, what I took away from the show was there's a whole lot of apprehension from a lot of the creators that we met in the industry, and it's tangible. You could feel it in the air. A lot of these guys are worried for what's happening in the comics, and they see that the writing is on the wall, essentially. They see that it's not going so well, and so they need to come up with a contingency plan. And so we had a lot of them coming up to us and asking questions, because we're here in the independents and we are succeeding.
You know what? I just thought about this, and I was hoping you would say that, but you know what? I think the reason we didn't see more of the show is we literally, God, I want to name names, you guys. The people Keung and I were talking to, these were not like just, like run of the mill. These were like A-list guys that, like Keung said, they have their eye on what we're doing, and trust me, they are keeping track intently. And I think it's because we spent hours talking to those guys.
Hours for each one. It was like hours. And that's really the reason why we spent more time standing in one place than walking around. And that's because each person that we met had questions. Yeah. And we would discuss them. But the one the way that I grew up, okay, I never wanted to work for Marvel or DC. I never wanted to work on X-Men. You know, I loved those comics, but I never wanted to work on them. I always wanted to do my own thing. And so when I went into you know, Murakumo Comics and my own properties, this was, you know, the way that I've always wanted to do it. And I've always kind of assumed that creators felt the same way, that they wanted to create their own products so that they could have that control over their own properties. But when I'm talking to these guys who have been in the industry longer than I've been alive, yeah, that's not so much the case. They've been pretty much battered down by the system, told that, you know, this is the way it's done, and they're having a hard time getting out of it and finding their own, you know, becoming an entrepreneur and succeeding on their own merit, which they have the merit. I mean, it's the comics have succeeded for the longest time based on the work that all of these creators have done. Know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. And you could see it. Some of these guys have been doing it as long as I have, and it's so weird because they don't really know where to start.
Yeah.
And they kind of, like you said, they see the writing on the wall, but they also kind of realize if they make the step, they might not be able to go back. You know what I mean? I was trying to tell them that you probably could, because like Keung and I said, these were heavy hitters. So I think they'd be able to go back. Because I think, you know, like if Ethan wanted to go back, I think he would be able to go back to Marvel or DC. I believe I would. I haven't burned any bridges. And if those guys do it in a cool fashion, I think they'd be able to do a creator own and then go back as well. But like Keung and I when we were driving back, we were asking ourselves, like, why, you know, like for somebody like me, why would I even want to go back? Yeah, you know, like as long as this community and this fan base can support us, this is where I want to be, and I want to be here for a long time.
Right. You know, it's just the fear and the apprehension that comes when you've had this steady paycheck for the longest time, and then you're taking a chance. And you know, this is just like what happened with the Image day, right when the Image revolution happened. You know, those guys were taking a chance. The fantasy is that, you know, they told Marvel to go screw themselves, and then they went off and did their own independent thing, throwing it all to you know, with their fates resting in their own in their own hands. But you know, the truth of the matter is, Silvestri, Jim Lee, Liefeld, you know, those were the best that Marvel had to offer McFarlane, and they would have taken them back. There's no way they would have refused them. You know what I mean?
Well, they took me back.
Yeah.
You know, so I think Larson went back at some point, and the thing is, they weren't happy with it. You know, when I left Marvel, I was doing cable, and Bob Harris was the editor. And then by the time I went back to Marvel, and the only reason I went back to Marvel from Image is just the market started collapsing, and we just had our daughter. So I needed, you know, some kind of security. And when I went back there, Bob Harris was now editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics, so he could truly make me pay. And he did, and I don't blame him. I really don't, because it's not that we necessarily left him high and dry, but, you know, we were his go-to guys, you know. And the thing, I don't know if many people know this, Forbes magazine and a lot of the money magazines actually took notice when we left and went to Image. So Marvel stock was affected. There was a lot of bigger stuff that was going on, other than just, you know, 7 guys and all the supporting guys going with them.
Right.
There was finances and things where Marvel was hurt as well. Not that that was the plan, you know, it was never vindictive. It was more of just...
Well, it depends who you talk to.
Well,
some were eager to burn bridges, and some were, you know, a little cautious in the way that they parted ways with Marvel.
Well, I usually, there's only and at some point I will tell this story. I know I've been teasing it for the last 8 months, but there's only really one grudge I hold in my entire 35 years, and it is against Marvel. And at some point I will tell that story. But yeah, I mean, when I left to Image, I never had a bigger axe to grind or a bigger point to make, other than, a creator haven where we could make all the money and that I could do creator-owned projects such as Black and White, which is what I did. And I also did Chrono Mechanics originally through Image as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, gosh, don't you want to name names, Keung, right now?
Oh, I'd love to, but gotta be respectful.
Oh my gosh. I'll tell you one thing, and you'll know who I'm talking about. I asked one of them to do a Chrono Mechanics cover. So I'm sure after the con, he'll get back to me. He or she will get back to me.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'll be a great cover. So other than that, what else? What else kind of was a highlight for you?
Let's see. Well, I mean, time really flew. We were talking to people, and hours went past. But somebody who I was not aware of that I got to meet and really enjoyed talking to was Andy Park, and his work is amazing. But Andy was not one that we talked about. Actually, we hardly talked at all about independent work with Andy. He's his career is firmly established, and man, he's good.
Yeah, if you guys don't know Andy Park is what did I call him in one of my tweets? Like an X from Extreme. So he came in very young at Extreme Studios, just about
19.
the time. Yeah, I was leaving, and he did a lot of books for Rob Liefeld's Extreme. And then did he say he went to school and then he went to Top Cow and did the Tomb Raider book?
I don't know. I know he after Extreme he went to school. I don't know if he went to Top Cow before or after that.
I think it was after then. So if that sounds about right. And so so I think he said he studied 2 years, took painting, but more traditional painting, like on oils, on canvas, and things like that. And now, if you guys don't know who he is, him and Ryan, I can never say Migling. I can't say his last name, but anyways, those two are the main guys that do all the character designs for the Marvel movies.
Character design and key art.
Yeah, key art. God, what is this? Ryan Minderling? I can never. He corrected me at the con. I can't say that guy's last name. But yeah, those two do the lion's share of all the designs. And it was cool touching base with him. We did that big Extreme Studios reunion. And so he was trying to get back into cons and things like that. So he liked a lot of the ink brush work that I was doing, like I do at the cons and stuff. I would love to do a book in that style. Maybe someday, since the independent market is different than the mainstream, maybe you guys in the chat and people will support me enough so I can do something like that. But like mainstream doesn't really want you to do that kind of more brushy ink wash style. But
yeah, but I'll tell you what, man, like the next day I busted out the ink brushes and I tried to mimic what he showed us in his sketchbook, because we saw those very fine lines that he was doing in the sketches. And I swear, from where I was standing, it looked like it was done with the quill, right? With a nib.
That's what I thought too, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But no, he showed us the brush that he was using and everything. I'm like, whoa, what in the... So I the next day, I busted out my brushes and I started practicing, and I couldn't get it quite right. But man, I was super impressed by his technique.
Yeah. Well, after that, he started doing a lot of shows, and he started getting back into more traditional, like ink and brush. And so, was it Long Beach or something like that? We were sitting on the same aisle. So we were just checking back at each other's, tables to see the progress and how we were going. And man, he fell back into it so quickly. The drawings he was doing were amazing. Yeah, he's an amazing talent. If you guys get a chance, don't do it now, but look up Andy Park, and you'll see the great body of work, not just in comics, but in the Marvel movies as well. And you know what we got to do, Keung? We got an open invitation to go visit him over at the Disney lot. So we gotta do a live remote from the Disney lot.
That sounds like fun.
Because I have gotten a camera in there. I don't think they'll let us go in the actual offices and film, but I think if we were just walking around the animation, I guess it used to be the animation lot. Yeah, I think we'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I don't think you'll have to worry about the crowd, so you can get your camera out and won't have to worry about getting bumped into it and all that other stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that was cool. His booth was Andy's booth was very impressive too.
It's like an art gallery.
Yeah. And I got his art book. I have to email him and thank him so much for the art book, because it was amazing. And he said some nice things in there. I didn't know he personalized it until I got home. Yeah. So that was nice. So yeah, we got to hang out with Humberto Ramos for a while. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a super nice guy. I love talking to Humberto. Should we tell him about that little bet between Jay Lee and I?
Oh, did you follow up on that?
I haven't had a chance to go through the Tuber archives yet, but you want to tell that story?
Well, maybe you should talk about it. I don't know the specifics about the artist, but yeah, our art might end up owing Jay Lee $100 after all.
Oh, you're already taking Jay Lee's side. Oh man, I don't have a leg to stand on then. Yeah, because I thought I had it like a win-win scenario, and then he told me it wasn't signed, and then I was like, oh no. So just to back up a little bit, went over. Jay Lee and I go back from like when he first started at Marvel, and he was like, there were three guys that were, when they say young upstarts, they were young upstarts. So there was Joe Mad, there was Jay Lee, and there was Rob Liefeld, and I think all out of high school, they started working at Marvel. So they were really young, and so a lot of editor friends at Marvel, and I was really pretty solid at Marvel at the time. And so I think it was Don Daly, it was the Punisher editor, said he sent me these Xeroxes, 11 by 17 Xeroxes of these Punisher drawings. And he said, what do you think of this guy? And they were kind of Simon Bisley-esque, how he's got the very narrow waist and the big upper body and the huge biceps and everything. And I remember those. And so I went up and, like you try to reconnect with people and tell stories. And so I was telling Jay this story, and then he, because I thought it was Jay Lee's art. I thought he had drawn those. And he said, I never drew any Punisher drawings. I said, no, these were like your samples when you first started in the business. Like you did these Punisher drawings. He goes, no, I didn't. He said, I did Captain America drawings. I got the story right so far, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so then he says, no, I did Captain America. For the life, I don't have any Jay Lee Captain America drawings. I have those, and they're drawn almost identical to the way Jay Lee was drawing at the time. And so then he said, oh no, I had a friend that was giving samples about the same time. And I'm thinking, what? Like there are two guys that almost draw identical at the same time. This is very suspect. And also, I mean, to this day too, do you remember the guy's name that he mentioned?
I don't. It sounded like a Chinese name, but I'm not sure.
Maybe somebody in the chat will chime in, because he did say that he ended up working at Marvel, right?
I can't confirm that, but he did say that it was a friend of his from way back when. Yeah,
because I'm thinking, if that guy was that good, Jay Lee became a superstar. Why would that guy have become a superstar? So I'm thinking Jay Lee doesn't have this right. Also, I remember the story, and I remember Don Daly telling me this Jay Lee guy. So I don't know how over 30 years or however long it's been that I would keep thinking that it's Jay Lee and not this other guy. So then Jay, with all the confidence in the world, right, Kyung, he goes, okay, $100.
Oh, he played you a little bit though. He
Did he?
seemed a little hesitant at first, but then after the handshake, oh man, you could see the confidence start to flow.
Oh yeah, because I think because I got cocky and I said, oh well, if I find these and they have your signature on it, all I have to do is say I didn't find the drawings.
Uh-huh.
And so that was going to be my scapegoat. And I just said it because to tell you the truth, I wouldn't hold him to it if I won. I don't know if he would, but we'll find out.
Well, I mean, he gave you his email address. He's like, yeah, that's my PayPal address. So just send it his way.
That's true. So then, so my scapegoat, my little backup plan, got nixed because he said I didn't sign the artwork. So then I'm like, oh no. So I guess, but too, like we talked later though, Kyung, I would have to trust his word that wasn't his drawing, right?
Right.
If it's not signed, I have to trust that it wasn't Jay Lee's drawing. So how would we then prove it?
I don't know.
I think this is a stalemate. I think it was Jay. For the record, I'm saying it was Jay. But anyways, he in confidence, right? He held his hand out and said, "All right, $100. I didn't draw those." And I was like, okay, $100. And so, like Kyung said, he signed his card, gave me his PayPal address, and said, when you find out, give me the $100. But I still don't know how we'd actually prove it. I'd have to take his word for it.
Yeah, without the signature, it's going to be difficult, especially how old those are. Yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, I'm saying I won the bet. Let him have a YouTube platform. He can tell the story however he wants. Yeah, but I do also, just for this chat, you guys and stuff, I am eventually going to go through those archives because I have Xeroxes of all kinds of stuff over 20 years of just collecting stuff. So I have Jim Lee pencils. I have Mike Mignola concept drawings. I have early Mike Mignola Hellboy concept stuff. I have like pencils even of, from Mike Mignola. I have, Scott Williams 11x17 inks, Will's Portaccio pencils, Will's inks. I have Art Adams pencils. I have Dave Finch pencils. I have Mark Bagley pencils. So, yeah, and even fun stuff like the Jay Lee, or I guess Jay Lee's friends, early samples. I probably have some Rob Liefeld doodles in there as well. So yeah, I got to go through that stuff and bring those to the chat here. Wait, what is James saying? I don't want Art to see doing cooking streams with CB. Oh, that's never going to happen. There's no love between CB and myself. Art got swindled. No, because Jay can't prove it. We've already showed here in the chat. Jay Lee can't prove it either. So this is a stalemate, man. It's a stalemate. Yeah. So. Ooh, gosh, I can't wait to because I see Arthur Brown in the chat. He and I are working on some stuff. I can't wait to show you. He had some cool stuff that he sent me. Oh, I want to say it so bad, but I can't. It's it does have to do with my new Indiegogo that's coming up, which will be the new Chrono Mechanics book.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be. It is going to be. So what else? What else was kind of a high point of the show? Was it? Oh, go ahead.
Let me think. Oh, well, actually, you have a super chat you might want to check out.
Oh! Thank you, Mark C. $2. Do you have any Mike Wieringo pencils? I do not. And you know what? One sad thing is, as much as I was bopping around in the day, I never got to meet the man. I heard that he was the sweetest, guy there was in the industry, just so nice. And I never ever got to meet the guy, and I never got to ink him. So, RIP, Mike. I wish you could have hung out longer too, so at least I could have met you. It would have been fun to throw some inks over your pencils as well. Yeah. So thanks, Mark. Yeah, that was very kind of you.
Well,
So,
I don't know about any more highlights aside from, if we're going to be moving on beyond the convention hall. But I can tell you my biggest regret, and that's not being able to stop Rob long enough to tell him to unblock Malin.
oh yeah. We were at
Andy's
Eddie's booth. Yeah, and Rob just walked by. Rob was a star at the show. Did you see that crowd?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, for is it Major X? Is that
his
character? Yeah. Well, you know what was a high point is hanging out with Billy and his wife, Billy Tucci.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Oh my gosh, that guy is so animated. That guy has the energy of 10 comic book artists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and when he's just like Art, you just got to be you. And then remember his wife's like, I'm coming out of the booth.
Oh yeah, she's gonna talk to you, man.
And she comes over and she's like going to set me straight, because we were talking about some of the controversial stuff, and Billy and Doug and Peter Palmiotti. No, not Peter. Jimmy Palmiotti and who else? Brian Polito did a panel on creator own, fundraising and stuff like that. And so I guess there was a little bit of controversy going into that panel. So
Sure.
we were talking about that. And then he's like, I don't really care. I don't care, about sides. I don't care about any of that stuff. And I said, that was what I tried to do too. Here I'm about doing good comic books, taking these things directly to the people, and just entertaining them and trying to give them a product that's counter to the mainstream right now, which is the Marvel and DC books, which I don't have 100%, I don't hate them. But I think they are a little bit misdirected right now.
Sure.
And so then Billy kind of came up with the slogan. He's like, well, you got to be yourself. And then he's like, what did he say? Art effing, like, you got to be like Billy effing Tucci, or like, you got to be, what did he say?
Well, basically it's, we had, at least in Billy's case, he had people telling him, you have to denounce this person, you have to be this thing, you have to be that thing. And it's like people projecting and trying to, hurl these modifiers at him. And it's like, I'm not going to let you guys tell me who I am. Who the hell am I? I am Billy Tucci. It's, and we find out that a lot of that fire came from his wife. She's like the Rock, man. She's
yeah, that's what it was. She came over when she came out and she goes, you got to be Art effing T-Bear. That's who you got to be. That's all you have to be is Art effing T-Bear. And she was like inches away from my face. Like she was like with the finger out. She's like, you got to be Art effing T-Bear, And I was like, yeah. I mean, that's all we have to be, right? That's all you have to be.
Yeah.
That's all I have to be. Oh, Mark C. Yeah. No controversy. Nobody thanked EVS for any help he gave. Oh,
nobody thanked.
You mean in the panel? Oh,
that's not good.
Oh no. Yeah. Well, you know what? Right now, hey, thank you, EVS. I much appreciate everything you've done.
Likewise, absolutely.
Yeah. So, well, thanks, Mark C, for the super chat. Much appreciated. Yeah, so that was fun, because that guy put out some energy, and his wife is equally as animated as he was. So it was uplifting, actually, to hear an independent creator that's been doing it as long as he is, and has been doing it. Where he says, really, all you have to do is be yourself. Just be yourself and put out good work, and try to keep your nose clean. And that's what I've always done.
Yeah.
Or I try to do, anyways. So, and then we got right across from him was Brian Polito, right?
Yeah, Brian was actually the first one that we talked to.
Yeah.
And we walked right in, and I lost you for a second. I'm like, oh, You were right over there, and I didn't realize who he was until it took me a little bit to process, and I'm like, oh, duh. So yeah, I actually, man, that was a great conversation. I actually learned quite a bit from Brian.
Yeah, he he's great in the crowdfunding because a lot of these guys are forthright with the information. They don't keep it to themselves. And I really appreciate that because, it'd be tempting to go like, well, I'm going to do a YouTube channel and monetize my advice or write a book or something like that. But they share it. And even like, they went into that panel at San Diego and they pretty much were giving stuff away for free. And that's pretty cool because that makes you think like that it is competitive. In a way, we're all competing against each other, but we're also kind of building this new platform together. So there's almost this eagerness to say, how did you do it? And then that person says how they did it. And then, they ask questions and nobody really holds things too close to their vest. And this comic book industry, when I first started,
Mm.
it was very open. It was very, very open. But then, in the 90s, there was kind of a pro and con there. When the money started, the big money, people started kind of holding things a little bit closer to the vest.
Sure.
Information, how they made their money, their contacts, things like that. But this really does feel like it's almost like the best of both. It's the best of the 90s, building, a new paradigm, a new platform to sell comic books, which was like Image, but actually like the early comics when I first started in the mid 80s, where there was a lot of there was a shared community. People were eager to help you and to do fanzines. There used to be fanzines, so they would do articles and they would do things at their own cost. And even there was, before Diamond, there was a company that was a distributor or did distribution, and they were called Capital. And those guys were really, really open with interviews, giving covers, and they didn't care who you were. You could be the guy that was doing Superman, or you could be the guy that was doing Ninja Turtles. You know what I mean? They treated everybody the same, and that was great. It was a great time. Wait a minute, did Mark see? Oh, thank you so much, Mark. Wow, you're making my day. Coming back after 3 weeks and getting 3 super chats. He says, been a while since I've seen Brian Pulido. Didn't recognize him without his Jerry Q mullet. Yeah, but you know what? I think he could still grow that thing out. He's got a little bit of receding in the front, but I think he could still pull it off.
Yeah, he can.
Yeah. He still has the attitude though, Mark. So that's never going to be taken out of that guy. And to be honest, I've always done like rock and roll things. They used to play, in the LA club scene and stuff like that. And so I still have a lot of like rock and roll roots too. So I like guys like him and Malin that still kind of like had that rock and roll spirit, which is kind of take on the world. So yeah, and Brian was very forthright, and I don't want to. He's got some major plans, and I don't want to, because I don't know if he's going to make them public or if he made them public, at the show there. But yeah, he told us some stuff. And there's going to be some interesting things coming down the pipeline for Lady Death and Brian Pulido, and I'm going to do a cover for Lady Death. So
nice.
That will be fun too. Yeah. Because I did one, I think, a year or so ago, so it'd be fun to do another one.
Well, it was really interesting because Brian and Billy's setups were practically next to each other, and it was really interesting because they had done the cross promotional covers for She and Lady Death, so it was cool looking at those. And then Billy also debuted the Boudoir She covers as well, and that was they had like sold out 80 of them within the first few hours.
Yeah, and you know what? His wife was very inspiring. I thought about doing stuff like that, maybe a little bit more cheesecakey stuff with some of my characters, and I think I may in the future because she said under the right circumstances and things, and done right, it could work. So I may do something like that in the future because I think that the fans like that, They like to see
I
that
keep
stuff.
telling you
Yeah.
guys, Friday night auctions. I mean, look at what sells.
Oh, and you clean up with that. I mean, you always keep it tasteful and it's sexy, you know.
Yeah,
And
the thing is, it's like Billy's wife was saying, especially for the character she, it wouldn't make much sense for that kind of character to come out with trashy, not safe for work kind of content because it runs counterintuitive to who the character actually is. So you need to, class it up a bit, make it tasteful. And that's what Billy was able to achieve with that cover.
yeah, and try to keep it within theme, so it doesn't seem like it doesn't fit into the universe or that it's just gratuitous,
Right.
that it doesn't fit. So yeah, the cover was tastefully done. It was beautiful. And he does beautiful women anyway. So yeah. Ooh, D Geek Art. Hey, D Geek Art. Thank you for the $5 super chat. The crowdfunding success of comics is encouraging for up and coming artists like me who felt like their work didn't fit compared to classic styles. You know what? D Geek Art? all we have all we have is our voice. That's it. And when you're doing independent books, the more your voice, the better. You don't have to lock into a house style like Marvel, DC. I've done that. Not that it's bad, but and I've also helped define house styles as well. I've never really subscribed to house styles, but I know Marvel and DC do kind of have, and they do encourage people to do that.
Sure.
But when you're doing an independent project, all you have is yourself, Geek Art. That's all you have. So don't ever be ashamed of that. Don't ever think like, oh, well, it's not mainstream enough. It's not this, that, and the other thing. Because that individuality, that uniqueness is your voice. And that's what's going to sell the project, period. That's it. When you distill it down to, that's all you have. So thanks again for the $5 super chat. I hope I'm doing okay. Like I feel like it's been a while since I've done one of these chats.
It's been a while, and now you're manning the ship by yourself.
Sort of, man. You guys should have seen this. God, it took us about 15-20 minutes. Keung was nice enough to go on the phone with me and kind of help me maneuver through Boomer Central here. So we eventually got there. So thank you for helping me.
It's very reminiscent of old days where I'd help people out with their, IT support. And it's like, okay, well, is your, you're not there, so you can't see what's happening. So it's like, is your computer plugged in to the wall?
Did you hit on?
Yeah, exactly. My computer won't turn on. Is it plugged in? Oh, that'll it's like incredible.
Well, you know what? It was funny because I have absolutely no interest in computers at all. When I was younger, like technology, when I was in the rock band and stuff like that, stereo systems, I could hook one up, at home. I could put one in any car. I could, tear apart a dash and do all that stuff. But when I got older, I was just like, I just want a hassle-free type of environment, And so I remember there was a friend of mine, and I was like, "It's not working. What's wrong with the computer? It's glitching." And then he said, turn it off and then turn it back on. And I was like, shut up. That can't be a solution. That's idiotic. And so I turned off the computer and then I turned it back on and the glitch was gone. And I was like, wait a minute. And so then you learn it reboots and, so it was kind of malfunctioning. It was glitching. So when you reboot it, it has a chance to kind of connect better. All the little pieces connect better and stuff like that. So, so I do know now a little bit about how to troubleshoot a computer, but there's so many variables, and I don't care about it at all. So, you know what? Having hindsight, I wish we would have, and I thought about it too, that should we start on the left side of the con where Artist Alley is, or should we start on the right and then work over and then spend the most of our, the majority of our time in Artist Alley? Right. And as soon as we got over to Artist Alley, didn't it seem like time just flew?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you made the conscious decision because you knew you were going to be spending money over in Artist Alley. You didn't want to carry all of what you would buy over on that side throughout the entire convention. So we did the walk around, and really, going through going through the right side. It was fun going through the all the video game and all of the new figures that were coming out. But then once we hit the center, it was just like dead. I mean, the only thing that was interesting was the people we ran into over there, like Evan, right?
Yeah.
But like, I can't even tell you what was in the middle, because I really wasn't. I was kind of zoned out. I wasn't paying attention. I was just like, can I see the other end yet? I'm like, can I see the wall?
Yeah.
See a sea of people. But then finally, once we started getting closer to the artist alley, I was like, yeah. Once we got there and started talking to people, yeah, time just flew by.
Man, it flew, because I think we talked to maybe 2 people, and then we're like, what time is? Because we had a dinner. And we'll talk about that too. And you're like, it's, what was it, like 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock? I'm like, no, it was like 5 something, right? And we're like, oh man, we only have like a couple more hours.
Mm-hmm.
And but before that, when we were in that middle part where all the crowds were and everything, I always look for stuff to get my daughter, because she's a geek too. And I swear to you, Keung, I wasn't necessarily going to buy stuff, but I did not see that line, because I just wanted to see that, because it was a Bob's Burger booth, and my daughter loves Bob's Burger. It's one of the things we share, and we watch that show. And so I walked over there, and I just wanted to see if they were selling, because sometimes they're just like samples.
Right. They're just
yeah, so I just wanted to ask somebody if they were samples, and if they were selling, and how much. And so then Keung walks over. He just gently says,
like, I tapped him on the shoulder, and it's like, Art, you've got like 8 people giving you the stink eye right now.
There was a huge line. It's huge when they have paddles up, because they have these paddles because they can't block the aisles. So like people that work there, they have these paddles up. They're kind of like crossing guards, and they make sure that the cross traffic isn't blocked. And I was like, oh gosh. And as soon as you tapped me and I turned, I saw that guy's face. I was like, oh God, thank you. You saved my life. But you know what? I mean, just to be totally honest, if they did say they were for sale and the price was right, I may have whipped out my wallet. At that point, I may have been killed.
The vendors wouldn't have sold to you. They would have told you, get in line, because that would have incited a riot.
Yeah, I'm sure that it would have got irate at best. There might have been, hey, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that line was ridiculous, though. It was really long.
Well, the thing is, too, that line, it didn't look like they were selling anything either. So I don't know were they getting some kind of freebies or something? Like, I don't know what they were in line for.
Oh, no, they were definitely selling things, but it's more than likely that they also had promotional items.
Yeah, because I didn't see a lot of financial transactions. If so, I mean, they made a killing. Okay. Ooh, Mark C. Wow. Thank you so much, man. Dinner's on me tonight. I sent both of you a regular tweet under the name. Can I read that? He's coming out. Mark C. is coming out under Steven. Is that Chure? If possible, please look and be honest about what you think. Oh, it sounds like maybe it's a portfolio. Is that what that sounds like to you?
Yeah, it sounds like it might be something like that.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Yeah. One thing I do too, and I'm going to get back into it, is I do portfolio reviews. So I'm not sure if the link, it was one of the links that was left over. No, there's no links in here. But one of the things is I do a portfolio review. So I can save that and maybe do a portfolio review in time if that's what you're kind of thinking. But I'll check that out, Mark. Thank you. Gosh, what else? Oh, Dan Jurgens was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, got to hang with Dan a little bit. Dan Panosian.
Oh.
Man, okay. Should we start talking and trying to wrap this thing up a little bit of the evening now?
Yeah, we're heading over towards the evening, sure.
Yeah. So one of the things that Mike Miller kept, because we ended up having dinner and drinks with Mike and a lot of the comics gators later after the show, and Mike kept asking me, so Mike or Dan told me he talked to you. What did you guys talk about? Like, Mike,
that was it's like, It's like he's what's the word? Whatever the case is. We took a cab over to Hodad's because it was, oh man, it was crazy over there. But we get out there and you didn't hear it, but yeah, Mike, we passed right by Mike and his wife, and he called out your name as we were pulling up. But we got there, and Mike was in line, and so then we arrived, and then sure enough, we go straight over to Mike, and you start telling him that you were talking to him, and he's like, "Yeah, I heard." It's like, "How did you already?" That was like what, 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, like the word got out, and I was like, I've known the guy for like 30 years. Like, of course I'm going to talk to Dan, you know? He's like, what did you talk about? It's like, just how's your family? You know, just basic stuff. Actually, the only one who really knows is you. And if you tell anybody, Keung, I'll have to kill you. But I'd have to kill you in like I'd have to poison your food or do it at night while you're sleeping. Because I think in a fair fight, if you knew it was coming, I don't think I'd stand a chance. I think you'd destroy me. D Geek Art. Holy moly, you guys. I'm going to start doing these things more often. Long line because they had 2 San Diego Comic-Con only items today. I'm not sure what. Is that kind of in reference to maybe the Bob's Burger?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
A lot of these vendors have con exclusive items. Like I know for some last year I wanted to get, they had I think it was either a Supergirl, or no, it was a Supergirl. They had the Supergirl Bishoujo statue, and it was in the black color variant, and I wanted it, but they sold out. Ugh.
Oh man. Okay, so those exclusive items, you still have to buy them though, right?
Yeah, but they're only available at the con, so it's a collector's item.
You know, when we do the big CG convention, we gotta all do like a jam cover or something with like a preview or a short story of all our characters, and then make it limited.
That'd be pretty hot.
Yeah. And was I talking at the dinner, or was it maybe on one of the chats? We do have to get T-shirt launchers. Yeah.
We were talking about T-shirt launchers.
Yeah. I think Malin was in favor of it. I don't know. Were you hot and cold on it?
Well, it depends. I mean, if we're gonna have a crowd, and you know, a T-shirt launcher would be ideal if like they're in the bleachers or something like that. You could launch the T-shirt over to them. But I mean, on flat level ground, less than ideal, I suppose.
Well, I just like the idea that we just launch one off over the con, and then somebody's just walking, and a T-shirt floats down to them.
Float or pegs them in the head.
Well, I don't know how tightly do you pack those things?
They're packed pretty tight.
So then it would be like a projectile that we'd basically be firing at them at that point.
Yeah.
What do you think the damage would be?
Depends how. Well, it depends on who it hits.
Well, I'm thinking we shoot it up. Like we don't shoot it directly at somebody because that would definitely hurt somebody. But like, let's just say we shoot it up at the ceiling, and whatever the trajectory would be, then it would kind of fall down onto somebody. Maybe gently. I don't know.
Until the guy behind them tackles him because he wants the shirt.
Well, then we make news now, don't we? See, that's how you create anarchy, and anarchy makes news, and then it's rock and roll, baby. Then we have people fighting over your crypto fashion shirts there, your Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb T-shirts. I say we do it.
It sounds good.
Oh, the headline would be clobbered by Knuckle Bomb.
Clobbered by.
Yeah, so like somebody has like a videotape of just somebody walking, and then out of the blue, this T-shirt comes and whacks them in the head. They fall to the ground. Yeah, I like it.
Punch.
Yeah, Knuckle, you just got knuckle punched.
That sounds dirty.
And then you're firing off multiples. Take this. Take that. You're just taking people out left and right at this show. It's a dream. It's a dream. I can dream, can't I?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll be doing that. And then it's instead of black and white, it'll be like, "Hey man, it's black and blue." You'll get whacked with the t-shirts. What's black and what would it be? Black and white and red all over. A fired t-shirt across the con. Yes. Okay. So we're at the cab situation.
Yeah, we just got out. We met up with Mike.
Yeah. And what did you think of Mike's organizational skills as far as the dinner plans?
Well, I've already on a couple of John's streams, we've talked about what you think about Mike's organizational skills and how everything is Mike's fault.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, we all were trying to get organized, and of course, it wasn't until last minute that we finally had some form of structure. And it's like someone suggested the tilted kilt, and Mike's like, no, not going there. We're going to Hodad's, and he put his foot down on that, and so that was the end of that. But yeah, we so we get to Hodad's, and we immediately we're like, okay, this place is small. Already we're going to encounter a problem, because as soon as we get there, we meet up with Mike and his wife. And then not long after that, we've got Sierra Whiskey and Pixel Trader who show up, and now we have 6 people. And that's just the beginning. So from the 6 people, we grow. Who showed up next?
Doug, I think Doug. No. Brian showed up, and then Brian wasn't with Doug, right? Brian was separate from Doug, right?
I think Brian showed up with Doug. Somebody showed up before Brian,
and then Doug showed up with 2 other people. Oh, there was a Render Contender.
I think Render Contender came with Pixel and Sierra.
Okay. Yeah, so there was like 13 people, I think, all in all.
Yeah, at one point it was 13, and then it grew again when Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers and his crew showed up, but they didn't stick around.
Yeah, they didn't eat with us, right?
Yeah, but I already told the story of how the guy who was handling all of the reservations, getting people into the restaurant and getting them seated, was getting really, really, really exacerbated with us and just getting really pissed off. He was pretty annoyed with us, because he asked us how many people do we have, and our number kept growing. And so I can imagine it wasn't easy for him, but at the same time, it's like he was not very good at hiding his emotions.
He wasn't good at hiding his emotions, and also he could have accommodated us, because there was that big long table. That would have been a blast. Yeah. Imagine the photo opportunity. We would have been like the Knights of the Round Table. That would have been awesome, right in the center with all of us sitting on that. It was like a big like park type, like bench table situation. And I mean, we would have not even, taken up maybe half of it. So we wouldn't even taken all of it. And so by the time, I think he split us up into 3 different parties for booths. But by the time, our party got in, we all could have sat at that table, that big table. He was just bad at, I think, figuring out, like, it was like his first day on the job. Like really, you've never had anything like this before. Just say it's going to take you a little bit longer, but I can accommodate. And then just don't seat anybody at the big long table just as people are leaving, or have people scoot to the left, to make room to accommodate us. And then just kind of, he could even keep bringing us in as that bench would accommodate us. You know what I mean? Like bring 4 people in. And then as the people that were already there leave, bring 3 more people in, and so on and so on. And we could have eventually just all sat at the table. But that guy had no organizational skills. I think, well, I know I was getting just as upset at that guy as he was getting upset at us.
Yeah, it could have been handled better. But eventually we all got in there.
Yeah. And the burgers were amazing. I mean, Mike was right. The food was great. So it was worth the wait. I mean, would you say it was worth the wait? I think it was.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
Yeah. And then Doug's a great host. Doug Tenaple is a great host. So he would come by and just make sure everybody was, taken care of and stuff like that. That was really cool. When he comes over and he's like, is everybody, get your food? You guys all good? Everything? Yeah.
The little limp wrist, the little gesture that he had.
You guys okay? Everything's good? Yeah. No, it was a blast. And we got to hang out with, I think at our table, there was Render Contender, Pixel Trader, and Sierra Whiskey. And we got to hang out with, I mean, they were all cool, but Sierra Whiskey seemed like he wanted to get rowdy.
Get rowdy?
Yeah, I think he wanted to go out with me and do some heavy drinking and maybe some,
Yeah, that's right.
some carousing. That ship has sailed, but hey, maybe, I don't know.
Well, there's another time.
Yeah. And so then, we had a great meal, and we took that great picture. Man, that picture's awesome.
Mm.
And those guys that were driving the trolley were in the picture with us.
What they up?
Yeah, the twins. That was awesome. And then I think they were kind of like bookends in the photo. And so then,
bookends.
yeah, they bookend the photograph. We were the meat in their sandwich. And so then, oh man, we were so lucky that we were able to get a ride from Render. Thank you so much, Render Contender.
I've thanked them again since then.
Oh my gosh, I'll tell this, and then I'll tell you the shape I was in the morning, Keung. I was in. Well, I'll just tell you now. I was in crazy pain. That's why I was drinking so much. Oh my gosh, I have a really bad back. I had scoliosis, and so I have like 2 rods in the back and stuff like that. And I haven't really done anything physical like this in a while. So yeah, it was really taxing. I was hoping you didn't see me walk up to the house, because I did look like a really old man. I was like trying to walk up.
It's just whenever I drop someone off, I always make sure that they get to the door safely. But yeah, you looked like you were in pain.
Oh, I was hoping you didn't, because you did stay there. But anyway, yeah. So we got a ride from Render over to the Marriott bar. Is that right?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, and then that's when Keung got like, oh my gosh, what were you drinking? Tequila all night, shooters. He got outrageous. And then what did you threw your like bag at the bar, your backpack, and then you got in that fight with that waitress. Yeah, it was terrible. Yeah, don't drink. It's not good.
Sounds like a fantasy to me.
You're not even gonna placate that one, are you?
Sounds like fun, but no, I don't drink, so I just had a Pepsi.
Yeah. All I wanted was a Pepsi, and she wouldn't. Yeah. So no, it was good. It was real intimate. So we all got to kind of hang out one-on-one. So I think Billy was the one that got everybody together, but he was not there, right?
Mm-hmm. That's
right. He ditched us, man.
Well, you gotta. Oh, yeah, that's true, huh? He was the one that suggested it.
Yeah. So, you had your Pepsi spiked with vodka, and and you got in a fist fight. No, it was really peaceful. It was cool. So there was Brian was there, Render was there, Pixel, Sierra, yourself, Mike Miller, and his wife, right? Yeah. So we hung out there for another couple hours, had a couple brewskis, and shot the S, as they say. And then the climax of the evening, right?
Oh, yeah, the climax of the evening, for sure.
Oh my gosh, this is not the way you want your end of a long, like it's hard, just it's physical. And then I heard you didn't sleep in a 24-hour period. Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't actually fall asleep until like 11 o'clock the next or that morning, actually.
Oh my, I don't know how you did that, man.
I had work to do.
Oh geez. And so, to be young and dumb. Yeah. Yeah, I did not. I should say young, dumb, and ambitious. Yeah, I got to throw that in there too. And so, yeah, we, what did we, that was cool. Yeah, because Render drove us. I don't think I would have been able to walk back to that.
Yeah, that was quite a distance, especially after, having drinks and all the walking that we did that day. But yeah, Render gave us a ride over to the parkade, And man, I gotta say, those one-way streets were throwing me off. It's like really inconvenient. I want to go that way, but the street says I can't go that way, so I gotta find a way around it. But yeah, we got there in one piece thanks to Render, and then we get out and we go into the parkade, and we more walking. You got five fleets of five, all the way up to the 5th floor, spiral staircase. You're getting dizzy. You're almost falling over. I'm there to catch you. But on
I
our
got a
way,
little woozy.
yeah, but on our way up, okay, so there's no cars that I can see. I'm looking each floor that we pass up, I'm seeing no cars at all. I'm like, oh crap, I hope my car's still there. And then we get to the 5th floor and there's my car. It's like empty, just one car. I'm like, oh,
It's like the setup for a horror movie. Like there's one blinking neon light, the rest of them are burned out, and then there's your car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we get in the car and it's like, all right, so let's get home. So we drive down, and on our way down, as we hit the 2nd floor, we see cones. And I didn't see those cones before. And I'm like, what are these cones here for? Trying to block our way towards the exit. And sure enough, we get to the bottom of the parking lot, and the exit is completely shut off. You've got cones blocking the terminal. The gate arm is down, as well as a steel gate blocking the entire entryway. And so I'm like, this could be a problem. So what was the first thing that came to your mind, Art, when you saw the gate closed?
Well, we did turn around and then kind of retraced our steps to see if maybe we missed something. And I think in passing you said, maybe if we went all the way up to the roof. And I think I shot you down because it sounded so ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Like really, we're gonna go to the roof and find what, like a miracle exit?
Yeah,
And
I'm like,
yeah,
like there's another ramp up there possibly.
yeah. And so then we came back down, and so then there was an office. I checked the office. You were thinking that the receipt may work as a ticket, but then I was also thinking like, that's a metal gate, like that fence thing. That's not going to activate that. It might activate that arm, but it's not going to, that's one of those lockdown, gates.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I walked over there thinking that, well, maybe, at this point we were desperate. We're like, how the hell are we going to get out of here? And so there was a button to push. So I pushed the button, and I'm talking to an attendant, which we figured out was not there at that parking structure. She probably manages a bunch of those ACE parking structures.
Oh yeah, she's sitting in an office waiting. For every single one of those ACE parking lots, she's the one on call to handle any issues that might pop up.
Yeah,
there was weird. One issue.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, there was definitely one issue that popped up.
Yeah, it was weird because you're thinking like, oh, I finally got a human being that can help. Like,
sure.
On one hand, you're just really relieved just to be able to talk to somebody. Like, oh, maybe there's somebody that can help me. So then I told her the situation, and then she said, there's nothing I can do. It looks like you're just going to have to spend the night in the parking structure until the morning. And I'm like, oh, what? This is your solution? That's not a solution. That's a nightmare.
It's funny because I could see the look of dread just come over your face as she's saying this, because we had asked her if there's anything that she can do, and she asked, which parkade we were in, which gate we were facing, which street we were facing, and so she managed to lift the arm of the gate, but we still had that steel gate blocking us inside of the building, and so she told us that, the manager is the one with the key, and that she would try calling the manager, but seeing as how it was 2 a.m, very unlikely that she'd be able to get through to the manager. So more than likely we would have to spend the night
right
until the manager gets there in the morning.
So the worst part is, this is the part I hate, where somebody's telling you the most ridiculous thing and the worst case scenario, and you're supposed to be okay with it. Like, I'm not supposed to scream and yell and lose my poop, right? I'm supposed to go, thank you very much. And she's saying, I'm sorry. And I keep thinking, that doesn't make it better. There's only one solution that's going to make this better, is to get us out of this parking structure. And you know what? Honestly, she should have known how to get us out of that parking structure, because the thing is, Keung and I, when we were doing our back and forth, going, retracing our steps, trying to look for an exit, there was this weird sliver that we could see between the I guess, I don't know how it's like the way it's stacked. It's kind of like this accordion that eases your way down. But when we looked over to the right hand side, we could see there was a slit, and that's where we came in. That's the gate that was open that we saw when we came in. So we were also wondering why, when we came to the bottom of the parking structure, why we weren't at that gate. The one that we had just walked in. And so then we saw that, and that's when we were like, there has to be a way to that. So I even mentioned it to that lady, and she's like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. And so that's when we just, entertained what seemed like a ridiculous idea, but what actually just became brilliance on Keung's part, is just to go back up to the rooftop. And then, we just turned around a corner, and there was a little road that took you to another side of the parking structure. Yeah. How would you know that? How would anybody know that? And you know what was weird is there was a guy sleeping in his car, right? In his truck.
It might have been it could have been a girl. They had long hair, but had the lights on. The car was running, but they had looked like they were asleep at the wheel. They had their head resting on the wheel. Yeah,
they looked like they had just given up. Like, I'm trapped. Like, I'm just gonna give up and wait till the morning. So that could have been our fate, man.
Could have, but yeah, it was like the thing is, you could see, like you said, this the way that the parking lot's structured. If you enter in through one side, you're on one side of the parking structure, and then it zigzags going up towards the roof. But then if you enter in through the other street, the opposing side, you're on a parallel level, but not parallel level, but you're not on the same path. They crisscross, and so once you get to the roof, you'll have access to the other side, and that's what I was trying to explain the first time around. So we get up there, and then we're going down, and you're getting more and more hopeful, but at the same time you're afraid to get too hopeful, because if it turns out that they close the gate on that side, then for sure we're stuck and we can't get out of there until the morning. So we get down there, and the gate is open. And I'm like, should we go back and let that other person know? And you're like, no, let's get out of here before they close the gate.
Close the gate. Somebody in the chat says, like, Twilight Zone. I was thinking like the upside down, like it's the reverse of where we were. It's like the mirror. It's like Alice in Wonderland. You're looking through the looking glass.
Well, the funny thing is, as we were coming down on the other side, where the exit was open, we saw more cars on this side of the parking lot. So clearly the wrong side.
Yeah. But you know what? It's so weird, because also, like she was saying, the parking structure closes at 1, and then I'm looking at the ticket, and the ticket says 2, and it was exactly 1 when we were having the problem. So even by her own rules, the whole parking structure, I guess, should have been open. Well, I guess technically she was right? Because she said it was open, but one gate that we couldn't find.
Well, the ticket expires at 2. I don't think the parkade actually. I mean, with that kind of parking lot, it shouldn't close. Like, the exits shouldn't be closed to begin with. I mean, you should be able, if you've parked your car in there, you should be able to get out.
Yeah, so if there's any cars in the lot, I don't know if there's laws, but it's like a blackmail. It's weird. And also, technically, if our ticket did expire at 2 and we had to spend the night there, would they charged us for another day? From 2 to 6 or whenever they opened up the lot.
Yeah. But that was the exciting climax to the evening, being able to escape from that parking lot.
Yeah, the exhausting end to that evening. That and your GPS. I wanted to kill that lady in your GPS too. When I saw San Onofre power plant, I was like, where the hell are we going?
Yeah.
I saw a 133 and I was like, what the heck? I was like, where are we? And then I kidded with Keung. I was like, you're going to take me out in the middle of nowhere and shoot me.
Yeah, thanks for taking me to the con, Art. And then I take you out and I go ahead and put you out of your misery.
Yeah. That's the way you thank people.
Yep.
Yeah. But man, I had a blast. Thank you so much for hanging with me. It was fun.
Yeah, likewise, man. It was. I wouldn't have been able to go without you, man.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll go. We'll do some more stuff. We'll head over to Disney and bug Andy Park at some point. We'll videotape it. So yeah, I mean, we should do this more often. We should kind of do a Keung art panel or something, or show.
Sure.
We got to come up with a name though.
A name and a theme. Although I would highly portfolio reviews. A lot of people want them.
Would you want to do one together?
Together? Sure.
We could double team somebody and then they'll really feel bad. It's like they're picking on me. No, I would never be like that. Yeah, we'll do something. Yeah, we'll work it out. So, yeah, thanks to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. That was very, very generous of you. So, D Geek Art, thank you. Mark C, thank you so much. And thanks for hanging out with us for the past hour and let us kind of recap our SDCC adventure. Yeah. Do you have any parting shots, Keung?
No, that's just about covers it. Got home from the con, did some work, stayed up. I don't know, just the adventure and everything. It just had me wired, and so I had the creative juices flowing. So I had to get some work done. I was glad that I did. But yeah, that's about it.
Okay, wait. After you dropped me off, how many hours did you stay up after that?
I dropped you off. It was around 3. So 3 to 11. Yeah, it's a good 7 hours or so.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're a better man than I. Well, when I was your age, I did stuff like that too. I don't do stuff like that anymore. Yeah, and I'm just sad that you had to see me walk up the drive there. If I had a cane, I would have used it. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, I had some soreness in the hamstrings the next morning, but overall it was all right.
Yeah. You seem like you're doing okay. But you had already been up for how many hours before we even got to the show?
I was up at like 5 in the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning, somewhere like that.
You're a night owl anyways, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I should let you go so you can hang out with your kid today, have some fun. And thanks, everybody, for hanging out in the chat. Thanks for hanging with me, Keung, and showing me all the things that I probably have already forgotten to get YouTube and to get all this Google Hangout stuff straightened out and together. So everybody out there, have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you soon.
Until next time.
Yeah, see you guys.